were smacked as children are more likely to become physically abusive towards their partners as adults. That's according to researchers who say there's now substantial evidence corporal punishment does more harm than good.
Let's get today's take on this with Nine's Ross Greenwood and Shelly Horton from 9honey.com.au. Shelly, so this study, one of them is 50 years, this study, it's found that smacking teaches kids to solve conflict through violence.
So I was smacked a lot as a kid, and I've never had a problem with it because I deserved every single one of those smacks. But I've always been all for smacking, and I've changed my mind. I've actually been grown up enough to go, you know what, my opinion on that was wrong. I now look at it and go, it is teaching them that violence is an answer. And one pivotal article changed my mind on it, and it was written from a woman saying, he smacked me again last night because I didn't learn. He smacked me because I wasn't paying attention. And then at the end, you find out it was actually the wife talking about a husband hitting her, but it was saying that it was from a child's point of view. And when you put it in those terms, you just go, yeah, that's pretty horrid. So I now am anti-smacking.
Yeah. What do you think, Ross? I mean...
I say in a perfect world, you would not smack anybody. There would be no violence. There would be nothing.
Nothing.
We don't live in a perfect world. And I think that people make mistakes, adults make mistakes, and maybe when they're at the very end of their tether, that is the final response that they have. Now, the problem is that, is it right? No. Is it what you prefer to have happen? No. Does it happen? Yes. The question here is, I think, as compared with a smack if a kid's reaching for an electric, sort of power socket or a thing, and the smack comes, right? As compared with beating. Now, there is a fundamental difference between the level of violence between the two, and I can understand this study 100%. But as I say, we don't live in a perfect world. Parents make mistakes, kids make mistakes, and as a result, there is this level of teaching. I mean, to try and have a rational conversation with a rampant 3-year-old or a rampant 2.5-year-old, right, is nigh on impossible. And so we do understand that there is a human element to this as well.
Yeah, and I think that there's something in the study that I sort of made me think differently about today as well, is that, I don't have any judgment if people want to smack their kids, but it's the argument that you were talking about, that, well, I was smacked as a kid, and you hear people say, and it didn't affect me.
Yes.
And that's okay, but you maybe don't have the brain capacity that somebody else who has the potential for violence has, if they are hit as a kid, and you don't know if you're raising a child who has that potential. So if you stop that cycle, that's where you have to sort of think over like a helicopter thinking.
Yeah, that's right. But then remember that this is where the beating comes in. You have done something bad, I'm going to beat you. Come over here, I've got the strap, I'm going to belt the crap out of you. This is the thing that I think really would really perpetrate the violence in the future, because that person becomes angry. They remember that. As a child, you'd remember that. And I think this is where this study really, I think, is a very important one.
Let's move on. Also making news, diners in Melbourne are being slugged no-show fees for failing to turn up to restaurants when they've made a reservation. So repeat no-show offenders are even being put on a 1-year national ban list.
No-show offenders.
Excellent. I think this is right. It's business. Yeah. And ultimately, you've got a situation where you have made a commitment to a business to show up. That business commits staff, commits resources, commits food, for goodness sakes, to your booking. And you, at the very last minute, decide, no, I'm going somewhere else, or things have changed, and then you don't expect any penalty from that? Come on, I mean, this is...
But there's a lot of competition in the marketplace. Right?
Sure, and the competition means that some might go elsewhere. But these are some of the very best restaurants in Australia that have come together and decided that they will really try to, if you like, take an effort to stop people booking 2 or 3 restaurants and then saying on a whim, let's go to that one. Because that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Why should a restaurateur be left out of pocket and really out of business when that table could have gone to somebody else who could have actually filled it quite easily?
Then let's say you go with a group of friends, Shelly, for Christmas lunch, or 1 or 2 or 3 restaurants in a day, but you go for Christmas lunch and you sit there and that one of the group of friends says, oh, you don't want to go there because I had a really bad, oyster there, made me really sick. You go, oh, well, let's not go then, we'll go somewhere else because you feel...
Nah, I think you have those conversations way before the day. I mean, I used to be really anti this because I hate being hurt in the hip pocket. I really hate it. But I've also chatted to enough restaurateurs who just go, one table of 10 doesn't show up and then they lose their profit for the entire evening.
That's true.
That's a big table.
And I like the comparison. If you don't turn up to your personal trainer, you're still going to pay them. So it's kind of like, I'm actually more for it. My biggest thing is, let me make the booking. I'm so sick of not being able to make a booking in a restaurant and they just have walk-ins and you have to wait for an hour before you can get a table. So if you're going to make the booking, then, yep, I'm happy to put my credit card down.
All right, well, you guys stay with us when we come back. What would you be prepared to give up for your partner? Find out what the big thing was that Prince Harry did for his fiancée Meghan. Prince Harry has given up smoking for his fiancée, Meghan Markle. The Prince was apparently fond of a social ciggy or two, but Meghan hates it, so Harry has quit the habit.
So Ross and Shelly are back for today's take. Shelley, dropping bad habits out of love. Romance isn't dead.
Yeah, I don't agree with this.
Why?
Because I am an ex-smoker and you can only give up for you. You can't give up for someone else. Like, you have to make the decision yourself, otherwise it
quit
won't
for me.
stick. No.
Because I loved her and I loved the smell of cigarette smoke, and maybe Meghan did too because I grew up around smokers, but then she'd have a cigarette and she'd try and kiss me up like... Well,
Yeah, well, that's different.
well, that's maybe what's happening here.
But she has to make the decision. Like, I gave up because I didn't want to be a smoking bride. Like, you know, I'm like...
Well, maybe
it's
he's
nothing.
made that decision.
Maybe he has. So he's done it for him, not for Meghan. All right, we're getting into semantics
Okay.
here.
All right.
Ross, have you ever given something up for a partner?
No, I haven't. But I did insist that my wife take up skiing before I married her. So I've done the opposite. So I said, so it wasn't quite she had to give up. So I said, look, and if we're going to get married, I'm sorry, this is a non-negotiable thing. You're going to have to start skiing. And you have to start enjoying it, because otherwise, I'm sorry, it's...
You have to enjoy it.
You have to enjoy it.
And you must enjoy it.
You must enjoy it.
She doesn't really enjoy
What
it so
about
much. I
acting?
don't think.
She doesn't enjoy it?
No, she goes
Stop
okay.
trying to
but-
make her do things
No,
she
that's
doesn't want
exactly
to
right.
do.
Yeah, that's right. So that was a bit of a fun. But I'm absolutely with you. And in other
Yeah.
words, you are a person, an individual in a relationship.
Yeah.
You are there together and you are different. But you are not the same person when you get married or are in a relationship. That's what even royals have got to work out for themselves.
Finally, new research has found Australian families are outsourcing big Christmas tasks like making the lunch and wrapping the gifts so they can spend more time with loved ones, because we're so time poor. We're hiring people to do everything, to decorating the tree.
Can you do that?
To assembling toys.
Seriously?
Yeah, even, this is bad
IKEA
though,
furniture?
writing their Christmas cards for them. IKEA does that as a service anyway,
Do they?
Roscoe.
Good, thank
But
you.
what do you think? Is this a good idea? Because, I mean, a lot of us, OK, we know that Christmas is coming, got 4, 5, 6 kids, grandparents, all sorts of stuff we're buying for. And all of a sudden we go, like, I need to work every shift I can to get to Christmas and make it on the day. I don't have time to prep the lunch.
No, that's true. But I think this is perfect. This is our modern society.
Love it.
You don't do anything yourself. This is the service industry. And as a result, if somebody can put up your Christmas tree, buy your presents and wrap them and have them underneath that damn tree on the... You keep on going.
Chicken or the egg? Chicken or the egg? I mean, like, if you weren't so busy paying other people to do that stuff, you know,
Maybe
you might
you
not have
have
to
the
work all
time.
the extra shifts
I
to
can
pay
look,
for that.
I can
service.
understand some.
Oh, come on.
big
You're killing the
things.
service economy. People are excited.
You sold that down the wrong river there, Sonia.
No, son, I'm with you, 100%. Because if I get a Christmas card that's not actually written by the person, it doesn't. It's not.
Don't send Christmas cards. What's wrong with email, for goodness
It's
sakes?
not
One
personal.
group email to
Don't
everybody. Saves
outsource
time.
decorating
Easy.
your
Email.
tree.
Group email.
It doesn't take that long to
Mate, it's a
decorate your
GIF
tree.
for me, guys. It's a GIF on a text. You'll get a little GIF, and it's
That's
a little
it.
ho-ho-ho GIF, and there
That's
it is.
right.
Like,
That's it.
and that's it.
Hooray, I got my
Maybe a meme if I'm feeling cheap.
Christmas
I
meme
think
from
the only thing I
David.
would like to outsource is the taking down of the Christmas tree, because you know
Yeah, I know.
that's a bit of a chore, isn't it?
And
Taking
it's
it
also
down,
it's a
packing it all up.
killjoy. It's
Why
like,
are you
Hang on,
looking at me like
packing it
I was
all up.
thinking?
What do you mean packing it all up?
When you've got to pack it up at the end
You
of
don't
Christmas.
pack it up. You actually take it outside and you put it out in the council
No,
refuse.
you
No,
take the
all
tree
the-
apart.
No, you don't. You take
you
the
put it back
wooden
in
bits
the
off.
box.
You
Take
can
the
chop
box
it up
next
and
year.
put it in your green bin and take it away.
I've got a friend who keeps
You
the
seriously
plastic
don't
Christmas
do that,
tree.
do
Don't
you?
kill trees, Ross.
Oh, seriously,
I
you
know.
don't do that, do you? You've got an artificial one.
Yes, Sonia and I are both artificial
I'm
mad.
Artificial tree.
Artificial.
Look, Ross,
And
artificial, artificial.
Yeah.
We are
There is
chock-a-block.
nothing on this set that's real.
We haven't been real for 7 years.
Fake news.
Fake ears, fake eyes, fake cheeks. I've
Yeah.
got it all.
Done.
Guys, thanks for
Where
coming
is the
in.
smell
Welcome
of
to
Christmas, for
television.
goodness sakes?
I've got that. It's in
Put
a
that in a
bottle.
can.
Let us know what you think about any of these topics. Go to Facebook and Twitter. Merry Christmas to you both. Good to have you on.
Thanks, guys. Still to come, from the Brazilian butt lift to the
Free.
vampire facial.
We've had it all.
We look at some of this year's most bizarre cosmetic trends.
And indulge without the bulge. We love the bulge here. The super simple pizza recipes that's great to taste and easy on your wallet, because that slipped off my tongue, didn't it?